All right. Hello to Steve Simpson, Justin Williams, already on Unapologetic Conservative Republican, Miss Dana Whalen. Hello, how are you doing? Hello, Miss Yvette Romick, Minnie's World, Mean Dean, Jay Hayes, Miss Yvette Romick over here, Minnie's World. Who else? Pencil Sticks, Shane 316 over here on Rumble. And let me come over here to Mind of Jamal, Black Southerner, Karen Sanders, Shane Terry over here, the MAGA One General. You know we glad to see you. All right, please hit those likes and shares because the title gonna make folk mad tonight. I'm making folk mad tonight. All right, who else do I got here? Who else do I got online? All right, let me come over here to Facebook. Okay, got Unapologetic. Let me come over here to Live, Lisa Pretty, Bernie Miranda, Luke Pragas. All right, Dan Frank. And let me head up, and of course Shane Terry, Don Angels, Michelle McDonald. Thank you, Shane, for sharing it over here on Carolina Republicans, Miss Meena McCormick. Hopefully you all share. Please, please, please like and share because Facebook has already decided to do what they do best. And hello, hello, hello. How are you doing? How are you doing this evening? The reason why I chose this title, listen, y'all got to like and share. Y'all got to like and share because Facebook is really mad at this title. Sometimes I think my titles, they are, if you put certain things in wordage, they will take down. Now, I know some of y'all like Jamal. Why you got Ron DeSantis, Trump DeSantis, Make America Florida 2024? Well, the reason why I have that is because the reason why I have that flag behind me is because, yes, you know I support Donald Trump, and I still like Ron DeSantis. Yes, I do. But what's going on? We have finally seen The View. Of all people, The View is basically saying that Ron DeSantis is worse than Donald Trump. Donald Trump has lived to see liberals say, we wish we had Trump. This is the most ridiculous thing I have heard. Now, the Florida curriculum was written by black scholars. Okay? Let's go on and talk about it. You know, I talked about it a little bit last night. I can go in depth with it now because this is another night, so I got to talk about it. The Florida curriculum was written by black scholars that just happened to not be Democrat. Or just scholars, not Democrat, not Republican, just scholars. In the curriculum, they pointed out that slavery still exists throughout the world. See, everybody wants black folk to get angry and get mad. So guess what they can do? Vote for the Democrat Party. Turn out and vote blindly. Ignore the hardships that has gone along with the Biden administration. They want black folk to be so irrational, which majority of the time we are. I'm going to go on and tell the truth. Majority of the time, black folk go off strictly emotions. We make some of the most dumbest decisions you can have. Why? Because we do it of emotions. And we pay for them. That's why when people come talk to the black community about election time, it's always racism, 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 racism. And this is why you see this picture. I took this picture and I edited a little bit because it has to be said. In 1977, January 1977, NBC, I want to say, put out a movie that lasted 8 days into the Carter administration. You know, the actual worst president of all time. Jimmy Carter is the worst president of all time. However, Joe Biden has just totally beat him. You know, people keep trying to keep it at Carter, but hands down, Joe Biden is worse than Jimmy Carter. I don't know how old you guys are, whether or not you remember this, but if you knew someone in the military back in 1977, between the Jimmy Carter era, our military couldn't cash their paychecks. They could not cash their paychecks. Some happened, but they couldn't cash the paychecks. But a show came on that lasted 8 days. It was called Roots. And it told the story of slavery and what black folk been through in slavery. And it told that story, and people felt touched, and they watched it and cried and had emotions and church meetings all over. Roots was a lie. Roots was not based on history. It was one of the biggest lies ever told. And it's even written on the front of the book, it's fiction. But so many people say, have you ever seen Roots? You ever seen Roots? I got a piece of thread on this cap, and it's getting, oh, no, it ain't on my cap, it's on my eye. You know, you got a piece of thread on your eyelid, it makes it bad. Roots was absolutely false. Now, personally, I would like to see a movie made about the black slave owners. Nobody makes movies about black slave owners, which there were. Nobody make movies about Native Americans slave owners, which they were. You know, the Cherokee, Chickasaw, Blackfoots, they were slave owners. Native Americans get to skate through with their slave ownership. They actually took their stock of black flesh on with them on the Trail of Tears. When all these black celebrities and all these people up here talking about the genocide of Native Americans, the genocide of the Indians, the genocide, you do forget that the Native Americans owned slaves. So when you hear black folks say, I got Indian in my family, they're actually telling the truth. Their family could have been poor. They could have been the slaves that was part of the Indian tribes. So we're going to talk about that because it all goes down to the Florida law. People don't want the truth, and they're looking to do something because Joe Biden sucks. Joe Biden absolutely sucks. And they need to do a controversy so black folk won't be looking at their purses, pocketbooks, and their homes. They're going to go to the irrational slavery. Everybody gonna be boo-hooing. Oh God, here it comes. Oh yeah, and by the way, thank you, Shane, for reminding me. When you see this right here, this is my favorite symbol. When you see this,
you've got mail.
that means I'm ready to read your emails. Now, if you look down, you'll see themindofjamal.com. If you can't stand me and you don't like me, you ain't nothing but a coon or a house nigga. Okay, well, whatever. You can always, guess what? Send me an email. I'll read your letter. Or call in. Now, I do promise you that if you call in, I will play your audio and we'll have this debate going back and forth, and we'll go back and forth and we'll try to be settlement like gentlemen. But if you call in and you act like a nigga, I'm going to act like a nigga. And I'm a bigger nigga. Jamal, I hate when you use that word. And you still watching? Been using this word how many years? Jamal, what would you do if a white boy used that word? Okay. Every rap song when I used to rap, I used to say nigga, 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 nigga. Sound like a machine gun. Nigga, 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 nigga. I used to say it so much. That's one thing about me. I will not be a hypocrite. I won't be a hypocrite. Now, Jamal, what happens if one of your kids say it? I think my youngest done slipped and said it a few times. She just smart enough not to say it around her mama and make her smart. My youngest daughter like, I ain't saying it around mama. I already know what's up. She gonna light my hind part up. She gonna lock me up. My oldest daughter like, I done heard too many stories about grandma and how she used to light you up, daddy. I think I learned. I think I watched how Grandma Sandra, these all them stories about Grandma Sandra beating you until you couldn't walk. I don't want to experience that. But call in, I'm going to do call in probably about 11 o'clock. But let's get started with the cackling hens of the view. These four heifers, as I like to call them. And the worst part about it, and I'm going to say this real quick. I hate to hear Whoopi Goldberg talk about anything that's disparaging to blacks. I hate to hear Whoopi Goldberg talk about anything that's disparaging to blacks when she starred in the most destructive, the most demonizing black men movie you ever had, next to Brewster's Place, which was The Color Purple. Black men in the 1980s saw The Color Purple and walked out of the movie theaters ticked. Like, wow, y'all really put us down. If you have ever seen The Color Purple, there was only one good man. One. That was the preacher. He's the only one that was worth something. He was good. He was a preacher. He kept to the scriptures. He didn't back down. That was the Color Purple. Then they turned around with some called Brewster's Place, and they had to put down, we can't let that black man go good. We had to go back and get him. So now they made preachers bad. But Whoopi Goldberg is the last person that should be talking about anything when it comes to what benefit black folk, and she's starring in the movie Color Purple. If you ever have seen the movie Color Purple, people will tell you that movie is an absolute disgusting. Period. There's that movie worse than Soul Plane. At least Medea and Soul Plane were trying to be funny. The color purple was trying to be that impactful. They made all the black men look like pedophiles. If you look at that movie, they made all the black men in that movie look like a bunch of pedophiles. Now, there are some people that said during slavery, she was on American Savage. It's a black woman. She was on the American Savage show, and she talked about black men and pedophilia. And she said the statistics show during slavery, a lot of times white slave masters had to keep black young girls away from the black men. How true it is, I don't know. Haven't read it, but she was on the American Savage, and that's a black woman who taught this. But let's go and get started with the four heifers. Heifer number one.
Florida's Board of Education approved what they're calling standards for African American history. I feel like they didn't talk to any African Americans, because we could have told them about the history, and nor have anyone seemingly gone to the Smithsonian to find out anything. You know, they're all...
You know, she said they didn't talk to anyone African American, black folk. They sat there and said, well, they ain't talking to nobody black. So, you said they didn't talk to somebody black.
A methodical process within our work group.
They want to replace history with lies.
Former slaves who have given their testimony. You can go to the Smithsonian.
Those were two black folk that blacks wrote this new curriculum in Florida. So tell me, what in the world is the problem? Oh, it don't follow the Democrat narrative. Okay, I see. That's what this is. This don't follow the Democrat narrative. Okay, I understand now. You know what, Rapper 10,000? Monster Ball ain't half as bad as Color Purple. You must have never seen... must have never seen The Color Purple. You must have... If you have never seen Color Purple, I'm going to tell you like this. Real quick. The Color Purple was the first, if you look at it in style of movies that degrade things that degrade black people, it's worse than these thoughts up here twerking in the streets and fighting in the streets. I mean, it's horrible. It is just downright horrible. Like I said, the only person that was good in The Color Purple is the black preacher. The only man.
And hear them. So apparently they all think it's a lie. But the board defended the standards. I'm sorry for laughing, because it's so shocking. Vice President Kamala Harris went to Jacksonville to give her thoughts. Let's take a look.
They want to replace history with lies.
Nigga, please.
Middle school students in Florida to be told that enslaved people benefited from slavery. High schoolers may be taught that victims of violence, of massacres, were also perpetrators.
Okay, now I want you to take notice what she just did. I may be wrong. They may have put Native Americans on slaves. Listen to what she said. I just caught that. I want you to listen to this. Let's go back. Let's go back and take a listen.
High schoolers may be taught that victims of violence, of massacres, were also perpetrators.
Okay, They are talking about that in high school. Native Americans did own slaves. So they did put that in the book. I will be something. I don't know about that, Pookie Martinez, about the Obama's personal chef drowns near Martha Stewart, Martha's Vineyard. That's not on my roster to talk about tonight. I have to get that another night. Probably me and Jermaine to get that. But if you take notice, she is trying to change history herself. She is literally trying to change history. Native Americans owned slaves. They were the 5 biggest slave tribes. That is a fact. This woman is literally trying to change that fact. Let me see, can I bring that video up? Y'all know I keep my videos all over the place, but this is the one I kept close because I knew I always have to bring this one back up. Why? Because people don't like to hear it. Or did I not? I think it's in Keep Save. It's in Keep Save. I can't believe that. I thought I moved it. It's in Keep Save. Is it in Keep Save? It's probably at the bottom because I got that one. Let me see. Because that's the one of Don Cheadle finding out. Oh, here we go. Always my favorite.
Right.
Well,
They just stuck to it.
well, somebody did get it right, but it wasn't your ancestors. It was the people who owned them. Take a look at this. Father William. And you can see William's father, or hence Cheadle.
Huh.
You are one of the few African Americans who was not enslaved by white people, enslaved by Native Americans.
I don't know how I feel about that. It's blights on the way this country started, you know, slavery and the genocide of the Native Americans and the Trail of Tears and all those horrible stories of what has happened to the Native people here.
Weird.
I said it yesterday.
You see that?
They insult us in an attempt to gaslight
See,
us.
they don't
We will
want
not have it.
these facts told about slavery. Long as they can say it was one particular group, it was white folk, it was them evil white folk who had slaves, that's all they want to hear. That's all the message they want to produce. That's why she sat there and said, people who were mass murders in a genocide participated in it. They did. They did.
I didn't do it, and I wasn't involved in it. But I think what they're doing is I think that they're probably going to show some of the folks that eventually parlayed, being a blacksmith into doing things later in life.
What are you talking about? Parlayed? What? Did you not see Roots? Did you not read it? What the? Okay. Let me throw it to y'all before I get in trouble again.
I live in Florida.
Uh-huh.
I have been spitting mad about the culture wars that Ron DeSantis has been creating. So when he says that he has nothing to do with it, that's... And why is it? Because he's passed legislation. He's appointed a bunch of lackeys and minions to put that legislation into effect. He has created the environment that has led to this. What
Nigga, please.
they say is that the updated standards now say that enslaved people develop skills that could be applied for their personal benefit. Slavery was the darkest moment of American history, our biggest shame. People got torn from their homelands. Men, women, newborns put in the bowels of ships, shackled, and made to row from Africa to America.
Did y'all hear what that idiot just sat there and said? They was put in the... Oh my God, these women stupid. They stupid. They can't be this dumb. You cannot be this dumb and still walking around breathing. Did y'all hear what this woman just said? Let me replay it. Obviously, I want y'all to catch it. I'm going to play it again because somebody didn't catch this. Here we go. I'm going to play this. Let me go check and see did anybody catch it. Did anybody catch what she said? No, this is more ignorant than Whoopi. She said this is what she just said is more ignorant than Whoopi Goldberg. Listen to her one more time. One more time.
Men, women, newborns put in the bowels of ships, shackled, and made to row from Africa to America.
God knows these people are stupid. Their stupidity knows no bound. This woman said these people was put in the bowels of ships, shackled, and made to row the boat from Africa to America. Oh, Lord. Yes, she said they rowed the boat. Now you know how desperate people they are. These people said they put them in the bowels of boats and rowed all the way from Africa to America. So they were up there, row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. I mean, who's this stupid? This woman said this, and nobody stopped her.
Men, women, newborns put in the bowels of ships, shackled, and made to row from Africa to America, then brought here and sold off like of ships, shackled, and made to row from Africa to America, then brought here and sold off like chattel. Men, women, newborns put in the bowels of ships, shackled, and made to row from Africa to America.
Nigga, please.
Moron is a moron. M-O-E-R-O-N. Moron.
Then brought here and sold off like chattel, separated from their children, beat, whipped, worked to death, raped. How dare you? Shame on you people in Florida. How dare you? Of ships, shackled, and made to row from Africa to America.
Weird. Weird. Weird.
Then brought here and sold off like chattel, separated from their children, beat, whipped, worked to death, raped. How dare you? Shame on you people in Florida. How dare you try to whitewash slavery? And to the Commissioner of Education in Florida, Manny Diaz, a Cuban American, that is like saying that there's a redeeming quality to Cuban political prisoners under Castro. Yeah. When you don't have freedom, you don't have anything. And for this man, Ron DeSantis, who's apparently his only skill that he has acquired is lying and creating culture wars that he thinks are going to make him president. They're not, buddy. That's why you're 30 points down.
Well, and Anna had said on
Well, Ron DeSantis is 30 points down now, is he? Who is the person that's 30 points up? Anybody want the... And I don't know if she figured it out, but who is the person 30 points up? Can y'all take a guess who it is? Yes, it is the orange man bad. This woman literally said black people was put in the bottom of boats. This woman said black folk was put in the bottom of boats and had to row from Africa to America. They were on sailboats. What you think that was the Greeks? This is the thing about, and you know what? Nobody stopped her. And look at her. She looked like she's strong. Looked like she said a lot. I want to go back. Go back. Let's hear her.
Men, women, newborns put in the bowels of ships, shackled, and made to row from Africa to America.
Oh, Lord. Ooh, let's hear it one more time. Okay, y'all. This is going to be my new clip. This is coming on a button bar because she's just too stupid. You want to know how dumb Democrats are? Here you go.
Of ships shackled and made to row from Africa to America, then brought here and sold off like chattel, separated from their...
To DeSantis' team this week.
Skill that he has acquired is lying and down.
Well, and Anna hits it on the head there. So I reached out to DeSantis' team this weekend, honestly in hopes that there was some decent explanation here. And basically what I got from them was, well, there were some black educators and scholars who contributed to this, and it's been on the books for over a decade. Well, a lot of things have been on the books for over a decade that shouldn't be, and they're bad, and they're terrible.
Hold it. Everybody is skipping past the black educators and scholars who wrote it. Black educators and scholars who wrote this. These people are nuts. These people are crazy. And she's supposed to be a Republican, like Anna Navarre.
My friend Will Hurd, I think, said it better than I could have, which was, it was literally the most dehumanizing institution, subjugated people as property because they lacked any basic rights and freedoms. This is Ron DeSantis doing what I wanted to think there was better to him, but I'm realizing there's not. He needs two things right now, name ID and donors. So what he's doing is trying to stoke these rage things that the media is then going to cover, and then his core base is going to come out and defend him. He raises his name ID and his money on it, but it's bad for America. Yeah. And that is precisely why, as Anna says, his poll numbers are precipitously dropping. Swing states, Minnesota's focus group just came out that showed that, I mean, people like me, college-educated Republican voters, are running away from him because he is trying to take us so far backward. I would say...
From the makers of Cracker Ass Crack.
I miss the Ron DeSantis I knew in the House. He was not this kind of culture warrior, but this is horrible.
From the makers of Cracker Ass Crack.
We're talking about the stupidity of this new, approved, shocking standard for teaching African-American history. And
I know I didn't say nothing the last time.
Yes.
Because I wanted to listen to what other people had to say. Because you know, when you talk about enslaved people and just the horrible things that happened to slavery, what we often forget is that slavery continued, right? So you sort of erase then Jim Crow, and you erase Reconstruction, and you erase the sundown laws, and you just start erasing the wealth gap and the inequality, and you erase the fact that while black people, maybe he taught his son how to be a blacksmith, this country was built on the backs of black labor for free. Yeah.
Just a little. And on that note, can't believe that they still make niggas like this. I thought they had discontinued these models, but nope, they still here. Peace. Sir, you a grown-ass man. You called me to troll me. Did you get what you want out of this? Did it make you feel better now? There's a difference. I don't bother people I don't like. And this is what you have to deal with niggas. What they built, what they did, what they gained.
You want to live off somebody else's law.
What they built, what they did, what they gained.
You want to live off somebody else's law.
Niggas are the worst people on earth. I do understand why they made them slaves. I think one of the worst things that happened was they stopped making them slaves. If they'd have kept niggas as slaves, we'd have built more shit. We'd have been better people. Whenever black people were under the oppression of white people, they did more. They were more productive people. Name the shit you built since being out of slavery. Name it. Name it. Let me explain. You claim you built D.C.
You were enslaved when you did that.
You claim you built the railroads.
You were enslaved when you did that.
Everything you claim you built in America, it's when white people had the whip on your ass. What have you built since? Go on, what have you built since? Nobody wants to talk about the facts. Now all you do is go around and begging white people for shit. All these hoods y'all proud of, white people gave them to you. You didn't build them. What they built, what they did, what they gained.
You want to live off somebody else's law.
What they built, what they did, what they gained.
You want to live off somebody else's law.
What they built, what they did, what they gained.
You want to live off somebody else's law.
What they built, what they did, what they gained.
You want to live off somebody else's law.
Did black people build Cabrini Green? Nope. Did black people build Capitol Homes? Nope. Did black people build Carver Homes? Nope. Did black people build O-Block? Nope. Did black people build any of these things you're talking about? 63rd, 62nd, 69th? Did you build any of that shit? Nope. Did black people build Compton?
What?
Did black people build Compton?
What?
Did black people build Compton? Nope. Let me explain. Black Wall Street. Come on, bro. Black Wall Street. Your ass ain't built Black Wall Street back now, have you? You got all these black millionaires and all these black millionaires who own clothing companies. You could have been built Black Wall Street back a long time. When you hear all these niggas love to go back to Black Wall Street, that tell you black people are lazy and ain't shit. This person said Black Wall Street. Sir, you remember what Black Wall Street was built under? Jim Crow. I'll let you go. What they built, what they did, what they gained.
You want to live off somebody else's law.
What they built, what they did, what they gained.
You want to live off somebody else's law.
What they built, what they did, what they gained.
You want to live off somebody else's law.
What they built, what they did, what they gained.
You want to live off somebody else's law.
What have you built? Give me the Black Wall Street 20 years, in the last 20 years, the last 10 years. Give me that. Y'all niggas can't put together some stores. Because that's all Black Wall Street was, idiot, stores.
And the other part of it is that more than 100 political elites in this country today.
That was the great Tommy Sotomayor. You can find him on Rumble. Yes, a lot of people came after that man, Tommy Sotomayor. Let me go and take her off real quick and put this up here. Let me take her off and put him up here where he belongs. Now, so many people came after Tommy because Tommy was one of the people who told the truth that people could not deal with him. Some of the points, I'll be honest, some of the points and some of the stuff that I do learn, I listen to Tommy Sotomayor. I listen to him all the time. And he's 100% true. No, the point is, David Villar, is that these people are lying about slavery. The same people that want to say that we built America, you built it under slavery. What have you built since then? All these neighborhoods, what have you built since? Tommy Sotomayor has been predicting stuff so true about the destruction of the black community, who's destroying it. So if you don't like Tommy, you can beat the street. You can kick rocks. You one of those people mad Tommy was right. And that song shuts you down.
They have families linked to slavery. A fifth of the nation's congressmen, living presidents, Supreme Court justices, and governors are direct descendants of ancestors who enslaved people. That's how they made...
Uh-oh. Here's one. Oh, y'all, I want y'all to sit down real quick. I want y'all to sit down. This is something that we have been waiting for a long time. If you are in the comment section right now, I want you to take a chill. I want y'all to sit back. I want you to hurry up. I want y'all to go get you a nice glass of wine, white wine chill. If you drink champagne, get your champagne. Because now we are about to hear them have to admit something that is going to kill them to admit. Is you ready? All right. Hurry up. Go get your glasses because you want to sip it and drink and enjoy what you are about to hear. Oh, moonshine. Oh, well, get your mayonnaise jar and get your old jar shine then, Miss San Napier. Go on, get your moonshine and go on now. Go on, get your shine. Are you ready? The bandits say I'm ready. Uh-oh, I got the moonshine. Oh, got the champagne glass. Here you go.
Their money. President Joe Biden and every living former U.S. president, except for Trump because he came from Germany. We don't know what his family was doing there, but they're direct descendants.
Hold up.
Joe Biden and every living former U.S. president, except for Trump because he came from Germany. We don't know what his family was doing there, but they're direct descendants of slaveholders, including Barack Obama because he had a white mother. So don't sit here and fifth of the nation's congressmen, living presidents, Supreme Court justices, and governors are direct descendants of ancestors who enslaved people. That's how they made their money. President Joe Biden and every living former U.S. president, except for Trump because he came...
Oh, every U.S. president is allegedly descendants from slave owners, except one. Well, that would be Donald J. Trump. And she had to hurry up and get away because we don't know what his family was doing in Germany. Like his family was marching during World War II. His family came over here, 1899, 1890s? His family came over from Germany. Oh, Lord. They had to admit the Trump family. I got to hear it one more time. Oh, this is good.
It's how they made their money. President Joe Biden and every living former U.S. president, except for Trump because he came from Germany.
And oh yeah, by the way, thank you, rapper, for pointing that out. Barack Obama's family on the black side were slavers too.
We don't know what his family was doing there, but they're direct descendants of slaveholders, including Barack Obama, because he had a white mother. So don't sit here and tell me one side of the story that black people may have had an enhancement when white people really benefited the most and continue to do so today. And I believe that's what they are trying to hide.
Talk about
Nigga, please.
Talk about the banking that you know, if you were black, you couldn't get a loan.
Yeah.
Okay. Talk
You couldn't
about
get a home.
You couldn't get a home.
You couldn't get the vet loan.
You couldn't drink certain water from certain.
But that's why it's so upsetting when people say, but I didn't have anything to do with it. I didn't own slaves. No, but you continue to reap the benefits of it. And I think if you want to, DeSantis or whoever in Florida, if you want to teach both sides of those stories, I'm all for that.
Well, and by the way, there's no both sides to this. I think the most offensive part is you mentioned Cuba. Imagine if right now we said there was someone was trying to teach kids there was an upside to Nazi Germany. And
See, here is when somebody who knows history needs to be there and shut them up. There was an upside to Nazi Germany. Where do you think we got our technology to go to the moon? Why do you think after World War II, they beat down the doors to get to the Nazi scientists, the German scientists? Who do you think started our CIA? Former Gestapo officers. The people who started the Central Intelligence Agency were former Gestapo men. Do you know how many scientists, rocket scientists, those who were developing rocket technologies? You do understand these people were the one who developed NASA. NASA was headed by Hitler's former munitions person. Excuse me, his person that was in charge of rockets in Germany. So when she sat here and say that, obviously it was there you go, Operation Paperclip. Yes, there were upsides. A lot of the tests Joseph Mengele did, the evil Joseph Mengele, we use those tests to understand pressure when we're sending people up in space. That's right. The test so we could send people up in space so they wouldn't be depressurized and died. Those tests were originally done by the Nazis. Archangel just said Operation Paperclip. Werner von Braun. Because in German, the W sounds like a V, the V sound like a W. So it's Werner von Braun. Our CIA was founded by Gestapo officers. Our NASA was founded by Nazis. Oh, I want to thank, oh my God, I just missed something. I want to, hold up, who did I just miss? I want to thank Sandra Mullins. Sandra Mullins, thank you for your kindness and generosity and donation to the page. Thank you for the super sticker. If y'all want to see Sandra Mullins, she just sent me a super chat over there on YouTube, Black Southerner. So I do want to thank her for her kindness and generosity and donation to the page. But that's an absolute fact. There were upsides to the Nazis. We used them. We captured them. Oh, by the way, who do you think invented the assault rifle everybody carries now? The M16, the AK-47. Who do you think invented the assault rifle? The Germans. And Hitler was too stupid to realize that was a better rifle. When they brought it to him in design, he wouldn't do it. He said, no, it's a waste of time. He wanted all these varieties of weapons, the different Mauser, the 9mm round pistols, the machine gun pistol. But that's not true. The Maschinengewehr 44, the Sturmgewehr, excuse me. The Sturmgewehr, that's what it's called. The Sturmgewehr 44 is the direct spitting image of the AK-47. And the man Kalashnikov, who was a tank sergeant, found one on a dead German soldier. He tinkered with it. Look at that rifle the Germans had and the AK-47, the exact same 7.62. They changed nothing but just stamped Russia on it. Thank you, Maximus Opius, Maximum Opius. Thank you for your kindness and generosity and your donation to the page. Another super sticker. Wow, I got 2 super stickers. I got Maximum Opius and Miss Sandra Mullins. Thank you. See, people don't tell you things. And here's the thing about history. History don't care about your feelings. History cares about one thing. History. It don't care about your feelings. Where's Demaya? She sleep? All right, y'all. Hold up for a second. I got to play a video. My youngest daughter done fell asleep on the floor. Come here, baby. I'll go get her. Come here. Yeah, make sure you put your thumb in your sling. You have to have that sling in there. Let me go get my baby. All right, y'all. I got to move around a little bit, okay? Come in. Come in, Jandale. Just say hello to people. So they can say hey. Hello. Let me show you so you can see who you are. Hello. Hello. All right. There you go. I want you to give you the full time. There you go. Say hey. Hi. All right. I'm about to play a video, y'all, so that way I can go take my daughter to bed because my youngest daughter is knocked out. Let me show you, since the Supreme Court is one of the things we're going to be talking about, I'll be right back.
All right, this went along party lines right now. A crackdown on the part of Democratic members of the Senate Judiciary Committee to say, the free trip thing and not reporting on it thing, with a host of, Supreme Court justices, it's not going to fly. So we're going to come up with an ethics bill there. Senator John Kennedy joining other Republicans to say that was not the answer or the solution. Kind enough to join us. Senator, good to see you.
You too, Neil.
This ethics bill, the Democrats were saying it would just hold Supreme Court justices to the same ethics standards that I suppose you have in the Senate and the House supposedly has there. What do you make of that?
I voted against the bill for a number of reasons. Some of the proponents of the bill have said that the Supreme Court needs a code of conduct. That's not accurate. The Supreme Court has a code of conduct. You can go to uscourts.gov and read it. The Supreme Court amended it last spring, and it is talking about amending it again. Number two, I think the legislation brought by Senator Whitehouse is unconstitutional under Article 3 in our separation of powers doctrine. If you read cases like U.S. v. Klein, U.S. v. Nixon, Buckley v. Vallejo, Collins v. Yellen, I don't think that the Congress has the power to write a code of ethics for the Supreme Court any more than the Supreme Court has the right to write a code of ethics for Congress.
So the Supreme Court should police itself and its own behavior. That's what you're saying. What if it doesn't, though? I mean, the same could be said, you're quite right, about if the House doesn't do that or the Senate doesn't do that, then who does do that? But what do you think?
Well, you ask what if they don't? They are. They are policing themselves. They have a code of conduct. Now, some of my colleagues
will that code of conduct change?
Like.
Will that code of conduct change the way some trips were not reported or gifts were not shared or publicized? I mean, do you know that? Not that it would matter if you could say, like to your point, that you can't do that with another branch of government.
Well, it already has changed. It was changed last spring. Now, if you accept food or expensive lodging or a private airplane trip, you have to disclose that. So it has changed.
So with those disclosures, especially concerning Justice Thomas and a couple of others that go before, I guess, some of these revamped procedures, what happens then to justices who might violate that in the future? Does the Supreme Court have the power to say you have to go?
I don't know the answer to that. I just believe that under the separation of powers doctrine, Congress can't regulate the internal affairs of the court. And I also believe, Neil, that, how can I put this? Sometimes Congress is like high school, except no one graduates. There are members of Congress that if you do something they don't like, they will try to hurt you. And I'm not saying this is true of all of my colleagues, but I believe that for many of my colleagues, this legislation is not about ethics. It's about the Dobbs case and abortion and Biden v. Nebraska and student debt, and it's about no racial quotas and admissions. I think that some of my colleagues are angry at the Supreme Court and they want to hurt this court. That's why, if they could, they would expand the court. So when they can't do that, so instead they're going to try to destroy it from within. That's my opinion.
Understood. Do you personally, though, Senator, have any issue with some of the things we've heard from a couple of justices who did get very expensive trips and very nice gifts? I mean, does that personally offend you in any way?
Well, I've read the Code of Conduct, and I think it's a good Code of Conduct. And you're supposed to disclose an expensive trip. Sometimes justices haven't done that.
Okay.
When it's been called to their attention. They have filed amended disclosures. We're supposed to disclose that sort of thing as members of Congress.
True.
I do it, but if I forget something, as I have a number of times, I file an amended disclosure report. That happens all the time. But if you're asking me, do I think they're members of the United States Supreme Court who are bought or could be bought with a vacation? The short answer is no, and the long answer is hell no, in my opinion.
Got it. All right. Senator, very good catching up with you. Senator John Kennedy of Louisiana, Senate Judiciary Committee, Federal Courts Subcommittee ranking member, among others. Thank you.
Sorry about that. Well, I'm not going to apologize. I had to take my daughter. She fell asleep. She fell asleep on the floor. So I had to run up there and take her upstairs. I wasn't going to let her walk. So forgive me. So that's what happened. I don't know. What happened was, Trish, I had to go run and take my daughters upstairs. Everybody knows my daughter, she broke her arm, so I have to help her get everything done. Everybody was knocked out asleep. Phone lines are open. Phone lines are open. Now, I jumped around. Forgive me for that. When it comes to the Supreme Court, I had to play that. They are actually trying to impose their will on the Supreme Court. They are trying to force the Supreme Court to vacate so they can put liberals up there. It is unconstitutional for the Congress to write rules for the Supreme Court. It don't work that way. The Constitution has already established what you can and what you can't do. So, once again, Democrats are trying to change the Constitution. Let me play this real quick. Now, and one of the things he said, this isn't about ethics. Democrats are mad that the Supreme Court is righting the ship. The ship has gotten so far to the left, they are trying to right it. And they don't like that the Supreme Court is not sticking to their liberal Democrat rules. They can't deal with it. I wanted to go back with The View, but I'm not going to do The View. But let's talk about Roots. Let's go on and talk about Roots. Because Roots. Oh, thank you, Luke Pregus. I want to thank Luke Pregus for his kindness and generosity and his donation to the page through Cash App. Thank you for your kindness and generosity and donation through Cash App, Luke. But Roots is based on a lie. Roots is based on a lie. They came up with Roots so you could touch people and influence them, but it's based on a lie. Here go people who actually read and did deep into the book. Here you go.
All right, and just read a couple of these things, because this is the brainwashing that goes on. Now, we already know who the Spanish and Portuguese were really enslaving, so dodge the hijack. All right. Now, the back of the book says, what does it say? An extraordinary achievement. The Chattanooga Times says, the African is an unforgettable, moving story of an African boy who was kidnapped from his homeland by American slave traders. Really, Americans? Born of decades of field research among African and Caribbean peoples, this novel recreates the horrors of the Middle Passage. Oh, really? So it recreates it? So are you saying this is a real story? Where Suhuno heroic fight for survival while shipwrecked on the island of St. Lucia, and the ultimate degradation of enslavement. Throughout these ordeals, Corlander passionately delivers the African confusion over his plight, as well as his captors' ambiguities and rationalizations over enslaving their fellow men. Oh, alright, so yeah, they gave that crazy review. Now this is crazy, because you're going to see why. Alright, now let me just show you this other. right? It says first published in 1967, The African has sold more than 300,000 copies, was translated into several languages, and was a proven primary source. A primary source for what? For Alex Haley's, who's that? Pulitzer Prize winning Roots? What is that? That movie? Wait, that movie Roots? You mean Kunta Kinte? You mean this is his primary source? Oh, this must be some real shit right here then. This book must be really scholarly. Damn, this is his primary source for the movie Roots about an African being brought to the Americas? It says now available in a handsome paperback edition with a new preface by the author. The African presents an engrossing storyline embodied by powerful characters who provide an insightful journey through the volatile frontiers of American slavery. Oh, really? What are they talking about? Because they keep saying African. I'm a little confused here. Now it says Harold Corland is a novelist, folklorist, and specialist in the oral traditions of African and Caribbean cultures. Really? He's a specialist? He has written more than 35 books, including the best-selling The Cowtail Switch and Other West African Stories, and The Drum and the Hoe, Life and Lore of the Haitian People. Man, this guy's all right. I guess he's an expert, right? Says the reader comes away from the African believing this is what it must really have been like. Oh my gosh, so what is he doing? He's making people really, really believe in the whole African slave trade, right? The whole Middle Passage. This is by Publishers Weekly. That's what they're saying. Strikingly successful, The Atlantic Monthly. This novel of tremendous moving proportions, Corlander writes with deep understanding. Oh, really? Man, Corlander must have done his research. Man, a straightforward and shocking account. It's shocking. The Providence Journal. All right, so man, he got some good reviews, right? And it's Alex Haley's primary source for his movie Roots. Really? All right. Now, the only problem with this, I need you to understand this, and I'm going to zoom into it. All right. This is not a conspiracy. This is not a theory. All right. This book, this story is a fictional story. It's fiction. This is a fictional book. So how's this shocking? What do you mean he had deep understanding? What are you talking about? This is a fictional story. Wait a minute. Alex Haley's primary source was a fictional story? A fictional story?
Now, as you see, Roots' primary story, Roots' primary source is a fictional story. Whenever someone try to convince you that Roots isn't real, ever try to convince you that Roots is real, it is a lie. Roots is not true. It's not true. It's based on a lie, a fictional story. And it goes deeper than this. Did you know Alex Haley was sued for plagiarism? The man who wrote Roots was sued for plagiarism. He plagiarized 2 books, and they sued him for it.
What? Kunta Kinte's not real? But wait a minute, I thought he had descendants and everything in America. Like, what's up? Alex Haley. I thought Alex Haley's. Oh my gosh. Brilliantly presented. Oh yeah, you definitely did it well to fool everybody. You did a great job. That's why he got all these awards, right? Just want to read a little bit of what the author says. All right. No, I want to see this little paragraph right here. Look what he says. It says the African was written in the mid-60s, by which time I had been deeply immersed in the study of African, Caribbean, and African American cultures. It was not researched. Look, it was not researched. In parentheses, he's letting you straight up know. In the usual sense, everything was up there, waiting for me to use it. It just came to him. When the idea came to me, I told you, when the idea came to me that there should be a story such as this one, I reflected quite a while on what form it should take. I had never read a novel about enslaved Africans that encompassed what I had to say, and therefore had no models. So there's no records, there's nothing that existed before he actually wrote that about a middle passage. There's nothing like that. There wasn't no stories like that because it wasn't real.
You
He didn't
see?
have nothing to go off. He's telling you no models. But one morning, listen, I just sat down at my typewriter and began. He just started writing some hijack narrative of history. He just had an idea. He sat down and just started writing with no research, with no sources. All right? Another writer will understand me if I say the narrative seemed to write itself. It just wrote itself, really. Or did they put you onto this and make you a best-selling author so you can sell a fake lie of history? So you can continue to lie to the aboriginal people of the Americas, because you already had taken all their land mostly and already had misclassified all of them as Negro color. All right? And I simply went along with it as a companion wherever it led. He just went wherever, he just took it wherever. He went extreme with it. He made this story up. By the time the book was finished, I had the feeling that Huesuhunu, later called Wes, was a real person who had shared himself and his life with me. So he got possessed by a fake person, he says. He made him real. He wrote the book so good, the story, that he made this person real. This is Alex Haley's primary source of fictional story that this guy didn't do no research on. He's letting you know. All right, and then it goes on to the fake story right away. All right. I don't care to read this lie. Because you know what? We just went over what happened to the American Indian, the real cruelties of the real history, and you want us to focus on a fake history? You want us to pity something that didn't really happen when something really happened over here? All right, the real Holocaust, real atrocities, real so-called slavery, slave raids, these expeditions, right? These explorations were slave expeditions. The Spanish and Portuguese conducting here in America.
Next time somebody try to tell you you ain't seen Roots, tell them I haven't seen Santa Claus either, and I know that's fake. Santa Claus is fake, so is Roots. Oh, but it's not just him. It's not just him.
I want to make a follow-on video to a previous video that I made about the transatlantic slave trade. And in that video, I talked about how the African slaves got in the hands of white American slave buyers and ended up in America. And that was through the transatlantic slave trade. But I mentioned the movie Roots in that video, and I want to address some things about the author, Alex Haley, and his book and miniseries Roots. Now, Alex Haley is considered, I guess, a literary icon in the black community. And when he wrote the book Roots, he got all kind of awards for that. And then the miniseries that followed the book, you know, he got all kind of awards for it. Emmy awards, you name the awards. He got it because, and I remember that miniseries being on every night. It was about 1977, I think I was in the 5th grade, and it sparked all kinds of conversations, and it inflamed a lot of hearts of black people because we were able to see how slavery was portrayed in his miniseries. And I remember going to school every day and talking about it with my school teachers, with my friends, and in the homes, even my father, my mother. And a lot of times, people can still to this day quote Roots as, you know, as proof of what actually went on during slavery. Now, but I later found out through research that Alex Haley plagiarized Roots. The book Roots, he plagiarized it from another author who wrote a book called The Africans. And Alex Haley, was sued, and he paid over half the proceeds that he made from that book's Roots to the author that he stole a lot of the information from. And he also was, another lady had written a book that he had stolen some of the information from her book. So he lifted
he won a
information
Pulitzer
from two
Prize.
different authors to put in this book.
Yes, he won a Pulitzer for that.
And he settled. He settled out. And so, but this is public knowledge. When I say it's public knowledge, anything that's done, of course, you know, in the court system, it's public knowledge. But the media didn't report on that. I don't remember the media covering Alex Haley being sued for plagiarizing Roots. Not only that, Alex Haley admitted that a lot of Roots was fiction. In fact, Kunta Kinte was not his relative as he portrayed in the movie. He got that character from one of the two authors that sued him. Now, why is this important? Was fiction. In fact, Kunta Kinte, Roots. Not only that, Alex Haley admitted that a lot of Roots was fiction. In fact, Kunta Kinte was not his relative as he portrayed in the movie. He got that character from one of the two authors that sued him. Now, why is this important? Well, a lot of people, black people especially, got all their information about how slavery was, the institution of slavery, as far as coming to America. The slaves that were brought to America and the slaves from Roots. I remember asking my father. You know, my father wasn't educated. He was a good man, but he's a hardworking good man, but he wasn't educated. So, like I say, we sat down as a family and watched Roots every night. So when I would ask questions, I said, you know, how did they get us? And, you know, how were they able to, you know, overpower us and get us? And he'd say, well, you saw what happened in Roots, because I think it's a scene in Roots where these white people are chasing the blacks through the woods and kidnapping them. So I'm saying that because when you have a myth portrayed and people believe it, because it inflamed the hearts of a lot of people. And to this day, I have relatives that have Roots, that big book, on a bookshelf, you know, right beside the Bible, basically, because they believe Roots. They don't realize that it's a fake, it is fictional, and that he plagiarized it, and he made up a lot of it. Even Henry Gates admitted that Roots is a work of fiction. That, you know, Henry Gates is a historian, and he's a historian with slavery, so he has good work. So even he admitted that. And I'm saying this because the truth needs to be told about what happened. Because when people's hearts are inflamed and people are angry over something that's not even true. Now, what I really want to get to is the media. Now, Roots, this Alex Haley being sued was in the media, was in the court system, so it's public knowledge. But the media didn't report on it. And I think there's two reasons. Okay, one of the reasons is, you know, like I say, Alex Haley was considered a literary icon in the black community. And I think that the media didn't want black people to be let down. You know, because just like Martin Luther King, there's a whole lot of things that he did that the media didn't report because he's an icon. So you want to just not, you know, I think that's one thing. It was a good thing in a way, not really, but it is if you were trying to protect the reputation of a black icon. But I think is there another reason, is a more sinister reason. Because to keep the division going, you have to realize when people quote Roots and they believe what happened in Roots, that keeps people angry and it keeps the division going. And I think that's one of the reasons why the media didn't report that, hey, this man was sued. This is not even true. This is fiction, and he stole this information from other writers. Then that keeps people thinking it's true. Because like I say, I have relatives that have the book Roots by the Bible on the bookshelf and as truths. So I'm going to put in a link to an article about Alex Haley being sued and all of that in the comment section, so you can read for yourself. But you can Google it. There's several articles in the New York Times, different places, about Alex Haley paying out half of the proceeds because he had to settle a lawsuit for plagiarizing Roots from other authors. And there's another thing before I close. I remember when Alex Haley died, and people were saying back home where I'm from that, you know, he died broke. And my relatives was like, how could he possibly die broke? You know, and I don't know whether he died broke or not, penniless or what. But this is what the rumor was back home when I'd go home to visit. And I remember wondering, how could this man get die broke? You know, all that money he made. But this is before I learned about the lawsuit where he had to pay all this money back. All the money that he made, he had to pay at least half of it, and then maybe even more, back to the people that he stole the information from.
So Whoopi Goldberg up here talking about, didn't you watch Roots, man? Did you watch Roots? Man. Did you watch Roots? Man. Did you do history on Roots? Man. But I want to finish something up on The View. Y'all, yes, I'm about to show you something from The View. I know you hate it, show, but I got to show you this from The View. Because she said something that has been poison to the black community. It's not, hold on, take it back. This should be, this should be a starting point when it comes to black history. Not the start, finish, be all, say all when it comes to black history. And so many black folk do this same thing.
Upsetting when people say, but I didn't have anything to do with it. I didn't own slaves. No, but you continue to being raped and killed. And not a leader. And Chris Christie said that. Those are not the words of a leader. And when you watch him, he's absolutely involved. He has been writing on an anti-woke bumper sticker. His whole movement is about like reshaping education in this country. And then,
like y'all do with transgender. Like y'all do teaching men can be women and women can be men. See, they're just mad that Ron DeSantis is doing what they want Democrats to do in their state. And he's better at it.
when rules or laws are passed that reflect his sentiments, you're absolutely part of this problem, and you allowed it to happen.
But
you know,
don't tell us that Rosewood didn't happen, that it was our fault that it happened. No black people were involved in that. That was a white mob that went in and did exactly what they did in Oklahoma City, Tulsa, and all kinds of, in Tulsa, that have been happening all over the country. Listen, we know we can make a change. We can't make a change if we're ignoring the fact that it happened.
Tulsa was a race riot. Excuse me. Tulsa was a race war. I've did videos on Tulsa. You know what? I'm about to get that picture right there, y'all. Snap. I just got that picture of Whoopi Goldberg. Snap. With her mouth.
Happen. If you're worried about your kids feeling bad, then you're worried that your teachers are not good enough. Because your teachers don't let your kids feel bad. They explain, we're telling you this history, it's our American history, because you need to know so we don't repeat it. And here you come, DeSantis, trying to repeat it. Well, you know what?